Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be discussing the Raspberry Pi 5. If you didn't know, it has released very recently. So, I am joined today by, introduce yourself.
What?
Introduce yourself.
Oh, Logan.
And I'm Arlo. So, let's get straight into this video. Alright, so first off, we got the specs of the Raspberry Pi 5. They have added a new CPU. It's a Broadcom BCM 2712, 2.4 gigahertz, and it's quad core, 64-bit. So basically, yeah, it's an improvement. The old one was two cores, but I do not remember the how many gigahertz it is. They added a GPU, Video Core V2 GPU. More on that later. And RAM, it has 4 or 8 gigabytes, and they have upgraded the speed. And there's a few more things. It has gigabit Ethernet with power over Ethernet support, which means basically you don't need a cord. It's just powered by the Ethernet port. And it has a PCI Express port and a real-time clock. ARM, and the CPU is made on ARM. ARM is a CPU structure, kind of like how blueprints for a building work. CPUs have something like that. Uh, it's how the certain parts of a CPU are put together. ARM is owned by a
Like Retina
company.
3 graphics?
What?
Like Retina?
Oh yeah. Or wait, no.
Or the
Um.
AMD architecture?
Oh
No.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so ARM is owned by a company, and they sell rights to use their structure, or yeah, to other companies. ARM is mostly used with mobile or devices or low-end devices. Uh, an example of this is Qualcomm CPUs. Uh, ARM is more cost effective than traditional CPU architectures. They aren't as powerful as normal CPUs, though.
The Pi 5 is actually hard to compare to an Intel processor. An Intel N95 is the best equivalent that we could find, and considering the specs, it's actually a pretty close call. They are both powerful processors, but the N95 can support 16 gigabytes of memory or RAM, and the Broadcom BCM2712 it actually only supports 8 gigabytes. The N95 pulls ahead here, the uh, the the BCM2712 is actually also less gigahertz with a whopping 2.40, while the N95 gets a multitude of mini PCs gets around 3.40. But the N95 in a mini PC usually costs around $200, while a Pi 5 costs around $80, which is more than half or less than half of the price of a N95 mini PC.
Also,
But the
I'd
RAM
like to
is
say, oh, never mind, you already said that. But the gigahertz on the N95 is actually pretty good. The clock speed.
I just saw that. But anyway, if you're looking for something cheap, a Pi is worth it. But the downside, the Pi is pretty much made for Linux, and the only thing it can run is Linux. But I mean, if you want to run something like Windows, I think Ubuntu is the closest to Windows that you're gonna get, or the closest to Windows that I got on a Pi 4. So I'd recommend that more than anything. But on a 5, and on a 5. The Pi is good for web browsing, tech projects, and stuff like that. But if you really want a personal computer, you could go for the Pi 400 series, because
Yeah, the Pi 400 series is more meant for work and stuff because you can't really fidget with it and stuff. It's just a keyboard. Uh, all right. So the Raspberry Pi has a new GPU, if you didn't know this already. Uh, it's
Go, go,
it's hard
go.
it's hard to find many things about this GPU, but a few sources we've seen that are compatible, or that is comparable. We've seen that it is comparable to Intel's 10th generation UHD graphics, That's actually pretty good if you look at the price comparison because the uh the UHD graphics are from 2021. Like this is 2023, but we have to talk about how much cheaper the Pi is. And uh yeah, of course it's not going to be comparable to a 4090 or any modern day dedicated GPU because it's obviously way smaller and it's only a tiny chip. And here's our final thoughts. We think that the device has improved extremely since last generation. This can be good for it. It can be good for schools that have low funding, or the students can get access to computers when they couldn't before. Of course, the device will not be able to play video games or anything like that. The Pi is an extremely powerful device for its price. People might be able to hook up a eGPU, external GPU, to the Pi, increasing performance by a lot. Although the Pi is made for learning how to code, the device has made crazy improvements, and we are excited for future generations. So, yeah, the Pi,
That's gonna need some major editing.
yeah, well, the Pi is really good, and yeah, well, thanks for watching the video. Bye.